Hi friends, my channel has under 1,000 subscribers, so I don't earn from ads yet. Each video takes a lot of time and effort. If you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing or becoming a member. Your support means the world to me.
When Xiao Yan arrived at Dragon Island for the third time, his strength was so terrifying that all the six-star Dao saints were forced to kneel, beg for mercy, and were refined into puppets. This time, after leaving Dragon Island, Xiao Yan's cultivation had risen to the level of a 5-star Du Venerate, while Xiyan also became the Dragon Emperor thanks to his help. However, the danger of Dragon Island had not yet been resolved. Not long after, the 3 Dragon Kings personally invaded the eastern Dragon Island. At that time, Xiao Yan had come to Dragon Island for the second time to help Xiyan fight against the 3 Dragon Kings. Each Dragon King possessed the strength of a 3-star Du Saint, while Xiao Yan only had the strength of a 1-star Du Saint. Yet he still managed to shatter their formation. He bought precious time for Xiyan and helped her successfully sacrifice and summon the Dragonslayer sword. As soon as the Dragonslayer sword appeared, the 3 Dragon Kings were terrified. Xiyan wielded the Dragonslayer sword and launched a frenzied assault against them. In the end, the 3 Dragon Kings were gravely injured and forced to flee. The Western Dragon King and Southern Dragon King each had a leg severed, becoming cripples, while the Northern Dragon King was also heavily injured. This time, the 3 Dragon Kings were heavily injured, and Xiao Yan also left Dragon Island after breaking through to become a 2-star Du Saint. It was believed that from then on, Dragon Island would gradually unify under the leadership of Xiyan, but Xiao Yan had underestimated the 3 Dragon Kings. Not long after Xiao Yan left Dragon Island, the place once again fell into danger. The Northern Dragon King suddenly advanced to the level of a 6-star Du Saint. Even with the Dragonslayer sword, Xiyan was no match for him. Thus, Xiao Yan returned to Dragon Island for the 3rd time to rescue Xiyan. By then, he had already obtained the Dou Emperor bloodline and successfully refined the Green Lotus Core Flame, raising his strength to the level of a 5-star Du Saint. Xiao Yan also brought along Medusa, who possessed the power of a 4-star Du Saint, to Dragon Island. In the silent and empty void, 2 rainbow streaks tore through the darkness like lightning. The turbulent airflow howled wherever they passed. Xiao Yan unleashed his full speed, his cold face unable to conceal the worry and anger in his heart. After defeating the 3 Dragon Kings last time, the unification of the Taikshu ancient dragon tribe had been within reach, but the current situation struck him unexpectedly. Suddenly, Xiyan's dragon seal began to dim, her life or death uncertain. The guidance of the dragon seal no longer pointed toward the eastern Dragon Island. This made Xiao Yan realize that he had truly underestimated the complexity of the problem. Medusa looked at Xiao Yan with worry, helplessly shaking her head, following closely behind him in the endless void. Elsewhere, the stench of blood was so thick it could be smelled from thousands of miles away. A gigantic island soaked in blood floated in mid-air. The sky above the island was crowded, and everyone was filled with fear and anger. It turned out that the Northern Dragon King had unleashed the forbidden art of the ancient dragon clan, one that had long since been lost, the dragon transformation blood array. This formation was extremely cruel. Aside from the one at its center, all others within the array would be crushed into blood and consumed by the core, massively enhancing the strength of the person at the center. No one expected that the Northern Dragon King not only had mastered this forbidden art, but would dare to brazenly use it on the Northern Dragon Island. Except for a handful of individuals, most of the experts gathered on the island were turned into blood and used as sacrifices, empowering him further. After devouring countless clansmen, the strength of the Northern Dragon King had reached terrifying levels. At this moment, the massive island was enveloped in a dense crimson glow. Inside it, Xiyan was locked in a desperate battle with a monstrous creature. This monster had a towering body, bulging muscles with blood and pus oozing from it. On its face were 3 gigantic heads, that of the Western Dragon King, the Southern Dragon King, and the Northern Dragon King. Xiyan's face was pale, her breathing weak, even though she had summoned the Dragonslayer sword. When facing the Northern Dragon King, who had grown stronger, she seemed utterly exhausted. It turned out that the Northern Dragon King had devoured the Western and Southern Dragon Kings, who were already gravely injured, And with the aid of the dragon transformation blood array, he had absorbed many powerful experts far beyond Xian's level. If not for his fear of the Dragon Slayer's sword, Xian would have long since perished. Xian was barely holding on under the frenzied attacks of the Northern Dragon King. The experts of the Eastern Dragon Island did not dare to approach because of the dragon transformation blood array. They could only watch helplessly. The Northern Dragon King constantly provoked her, using his clansmen as weapons to strike at Xian. Clenching her teeth, Xian endured in order to protect others, but eventually she revealed an opening and was struck on the shoulder by the Northern Dragon King. She spat out a mouthful of blood, her body thrown backward, her aura weakening completely. The Northern Dragon King sneered and stretched out his hand to seize Xian's crown. At that critical moment, a crimson fireball erupted from above Xian's head, blocking the Northern Dragon King. He frowned, raised his head, and roared, shouting Xiao Yan's name and demanding that he show himself and die within the blood array. The furious roar of the Northern Dragon King echoed like thunder, its sound waves spreading far and wide. Immediately afterward, the crimson flame above Xian's head blazed, transforming into a fiery shield that protected her. It blocked the blood mist pervading the air, sizzling as it burned away upon contact. At that moment, spatial ripples appeared beside Xian, and Xiao Yan, together with Medusa, rushed forth. The people of Eastern Dragon Island outside the formation were first astonished, but soon fell into worry. They knew clearly that even though Xiao Yan was already a Du Saint, the current situation against the Northern Dragon King was still extremely dangerous. It turned out that in order to increase his strength, the Northern Dragon King had cruelly devoured the flesh and blood of the Western and Southern Dragon Kings, along with many other clansmen. His power surged, nearly reaching the level of a 6-star Du Saint. At this moment, Xian had been invaded by the blood energy of the dragon transformation blood array, coughing up blood as her face turned deathly pale. Even with her Dragon Emperor physique, resisting the intense pain still left her weak. Seeing this, the Northern Dragon King laughed triumphantly. He had sacrificed the lives of the entire Northern Dragon Island to obtain this transformation in power. Now seeing Xian so miserable, his joy only deepened. Xiao Yan, upon arriving, said nothing. He simply placed his hand upon Xian's blood-soaked shoulder, a crimson flame faintly flickering. The Northern Dragon King, who had been about to laugh, was stunned to discover that the blood dragon within Xian's body was being slowly refined away by Xiao Yan. It turned out Xiao Yan had used the Green Lotus Core Flame to completely devour that dangerous blood energy and burn it to nothingness. As the corrupted blood energy within Xian dissipated, her body weakened so much that she reverted into the form of a little girl. Xiao Yan told Xian and Medusa to retreat, while he remained behind to face the Northern Dragon King. He knew that although the Northern Dragon King was powerful, his strength as a 6-star Du Saint had not yet fully stabilized. As long as he could buy time for Medusa to rescue the imprisoned members of the ancient dragon clan, the Northern Dragon King's combat power would be greatly reduced. The Northern Dragon King stared at Xiao Yan with greedy eyes. He could smell the unique aura of 3 different bloodlines within Xiao Yan, and his desire was overwhelming. Xiao Yan did not reply. He simply raised his hand, and a crimson flame ignited in his palm. The scorching heat instantly vaporized the surrounding blood. This made the Northern Dragon King, already cautious, grow even more vigilant, his killing intent intensifying. The battle was about to erupt. The Northern Dragon King drew a blood-red greatsword and charged forward. Xiao Yan descended like thunder, his sword aura carrying a stench of blood. He countered with the Yellow Spring seal. However, the Northern Dragon King's strike was too powerful. He easily shattered the energy seal and slashed out 3 consecutive arcs of sword chi. The bone wings on Xiao Yan's back fluttered rapidly, allowing him to narrowly dodge, yet he was still swept into the surging waves of attacks. Struggling to breathe, Xiao Yan was forced back more than 10 steps, his blood and chi churning violently. He realized that ordinary techniques could not match the Northern Dragon King. He would have to use his ultimate move. At once, Xiao Yan retracted his aura, forming hand seals rapidly with both hands. Little Yi, the flame beast formed from the fusion of the heavenly flames within him, joined in coordination. The Northern Dragon King, of course, would not give him the chance, and immediately swung his sword down. At the critical moment, Xiao Yan and Little Yi completed the hand seals for the technique Human Flame Fusion Flame Destruction Body. A terrifying aura of annihilation burst forth, causing everyone present to tremble in shock. In the blink of an eye, Xiao Yan's body seemed to be consumed by fire. Crimson flames swept across every inch of his skin, muscles, bones, and cells like a tidal wave. As the flames raged, a wondrous transformation silently took place. His body gradually became crystalline, as if carved from jade. His internal organs were wrapped in a layer of radiant crimson crystal. The bone wings of blue and red behind him melted away, reforming into a pair of enormous crimson fire wings. At this moment, Xiao Yan looked like a flame war god forged from glazed crystal, a sight that stunned all who beheld him. This was the flame destruction body that Xiao Yan had unleashed, a heaven-defying method that pushed the power of heavenly flames to their limit and fused it with his body. Heavenly flames were incomparably violent. Even after being refined, their might was something the human body could scarcely endure. Previously, no one had dared to attempt such a thing, but the presence of Little Yi, the spirit of the heavenly flame, resolved this problem. Through their spiritual connection, Little Yi and Xiao Yan had reached the pinnacle of flame control, allowing Xiao Yan to unleash the flame destruction body. This was the first time he had used it since leaving the demon flame realm. Although this technique consumed a tremendous amount of Dao Qi and could only be sustained for at most 1 minute, Xiao Yan firmly believed that a single minute was enough to turn the tide of battle. The surge of battle aura bursting from Xiao Yan shook the ancient dragons outside the blood formation to their core. Elder Zhu Li watched with admiration. Once he had been able to suppress Xiao Yan, but now the youth had far surpassed him. The other elders were equally astonished. Once hopeless before the Northern Dragon King, now they glimpsed a spark of hope. Even Ziyan's eyes shone with joy, her heart eased by Xiao Yan's eruption of power. Facing Xiao Yan's transformation, the Northern Dragon King sneered outwardly, but deep inside he was extremely wary. He immediately formed hand seals and unleashed the Blood Dragon King Devours the Heavens. The massive blood array began to churn violently. Endless streams of blood energy and power converged above, forming a ferocious blood dragon larger than Dragon Island itself. As the blood dragon took shape, the bodies of countless ancient dragons on Dragon Island exploded one after another, turning into blood and bone that were sucked into the array. The scene was incomparably tragic. Meanwhile, Medusa was racing against time, rescuing others in a different area of the blood formation. Her jade-like hand waved and 7-colored light burst forth, rushing swiftly to accelerate the rescue. The Northern Dragon King laughed madly as his body turned into a stream of bloodlight and plunged into the mouth of the dragon. The blood dragon was strengthened, its entire body glowing with a dark crimson radiance. Its colossal pupils were icy and merciless, glaring straight at Xiao Yan. A surge of bloodlight swept out for thousands of meters, carrying a power that made hearts tremble. Ziyan and the others shouted for Xiao Yan to be careful. Yet Xiao Yan felt no fear. He could sense the overwhelming force coursing through his body, immersed in the perfect fusion with the Green Lotus Core Flame. If his Dao Qi was sufficient, he could even unleash the power of the Green Lotus Core Flame to a world-destroying level. Facing the terrifying wave of bloodlight, the crimson fire wings behind Xiao Yan beat fiercely, transforming into a flaming meteor as he charged straight into it. At the moment of collision, the seemingly unstoppable bloodlight suddenly dimmed and scattered. The blood dragon before Xiao Yan collapsed in an instant, leaving the Northern Dragon King utterly shocked. All of the Northern Dragon King's power condensed into a terrifying dragon soul orb, exuding an overwhelming aura. This dragon soul orb contained the bones, flesh, and souls of countless ancient dragons. With ruthless cruelty, the Northern Dragon King hurled the dragon soul orb toward Xiao Yan, causing the blood dragon to vanish instantly. Xiao Yan, facing this merciless attack, did not evade. The Northern Dragon King laughed, convinced that Xiao Yan was doomed to die. The atmosphere grew tense, everyone present holding their breath. The Northern Dragon King released a blood orb, his eyes full of arrogance, shouting that no one could stop him. Yet his laughter abruptly ceased. Xiao Yan faced the blood orb calmly, his expression unwavering. In his palm, circles of crimson flame appeared almost tangible. It was the renowned heavenly flame, the Green Lotus Core Flame. Under its purifying power, the murderous aura of the blood orb quickly dissipated. The Northern Dragon King was both horrified and enraged. He could not believe that the man before him could truly control the Green Lotus Core Flame. Even though the Taikshu ancient dragon tribe had long since withdrawn from the Central Plains, the name of the Green Lotus Core Flame still thundered in every ear. Ignoring the Northern Dragon King's furious roars, Xiao Yan's flames blazed even stronger. The blood orb, filled with killing intent, transformed into a pale crimson light sphere within his hand. Inside, remnants of the souls of the ancient dragons devoured by the Northern Dragon King still lingered. Xiao Yan flicked his finger, and the light sphere shot directly at the Northern Dragon King. His face changed instantly, and he hastily retreated using his movement technique. But the sphere was even faster. Countless vengeful faces appeared across its surface as it chased the Northern Dragon King. Finally, it caught him and exploded, unleashing a cataclysmic energy storm that rocked all of Dragon Island. Most members of the ancient dragon clan were shaken to the core. At first, they were stunned, but soon the island erupted in joyous cheers. The elders of the Eastern Dragon Island were also filled with awe at Xiao Yan's strength. After discussing with the Grand Elder Zhu Li, declared that once the ancient dragon clan was unified, they would form an alliance with the Tianfu Alliance. However, no one expected that after the energy storm subsided, the Northern Dragon King still clung to life. Though his vitality was faint and his body ruined, the hatred burning in his eyes only grew fiercer. After uttering a venomous threat, the Northern Dragon King turned and fled. Ziyan was anxious, but Xiao Yan would not allow such a hidden danger to escape. The fiery wings behind him spread wide as he pursued with full force. In desperation, the Northern Dragon King once again used human bombs, releasing 10 figures to obstruct Xiao Yan. At the critical moment, 5 colored light appeared in time, sweeping the figures aside. With the obstacles cleared, Xiao Yan accelerated in pursuit. Seeing the situation turn against him, the Northern Dragon King attempted to self-destruct and perish together with Xiao Yan. But Xiao Yan remained calm. The colossal soul phantom behind him unleashed the technique Yellow Spring's Heavenly Wrath, striking directly at the Northern Dragon King's soul and preventing his self-destruction. Xiao Yan's palm then descended heavily upon the Northern Dragon King's head. Faced with the enemy's desperate pleas for mercy, Xiao Yan showed no hesitation. A surge of dark energy burst forth from his palm as the Green Lotus Core Flame instantly incinerated the Northern Dragon King's soul. The mighty ruler had fallen. His corpse collapsed to the ground, still clutching 2 orbs brimming with violent energy. Such a powerful body could not be wasted. Xiao Yan refined the Northern Dragon King into a puppet. Once the refinement was complete, the puppet of the Northern Dragon King possessed the strength of a 6-star Du Saint. A puppet of such power was truly unrivaled across the entire Du Qi continent. And with that, this entire video comes to an end. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, remember to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the latest uploads. See you again in the next videos. Goodbye.